Welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free from narcissistic abuse with quantum tools and understandings. Today's topic is a big one. Have you been treated horrifically by someone, yet you can't let go of them no matter how much you're being damaged and destroyed by them? Have you been anguished about why you just can't get away and stay away and can't seem to stop yourself trying to fix things and be with this person? You're not alone. Ex-heroin addicts have told me that it's harder to give up a narcissist than it is heroin. And that's a pretty big statement. In today's episode, I'm going to explain to you why narcissists are so addictive and why they get their hooks into you in such all-consuming ways, as well as why it's so hard to let go of your cravings for them. And I'm also going to explain exactly how the Thriver Way to Heal will get you up and out of this severe addiction, no matter how much it's had its hold over you. And I'm thrilled today to explain to you how the Thriver Way to Heal is the true solution to getting out and away and completely free from narcissistic relationships in ways that nobody else is talking about. Okay, so now just before we take this deep dive, I want to remind you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and also leave a like if you enjoyed this video. All right, so to get started, today's Thriver TV lesson contains stories that you may deeply relate to. We're going to check out the first one, which is about being invalidated and abused. Joseph was brought up in a family with a narcissistic mother who continually shut down his opinions, voice, and dreams, and guilted and bullied him into doing everything she believed he should do, which was namely cater exactly to her needs and wants. When Joseph met Barbara, he felt an instant connection and desire for her. She seemed so lovely, beautiful, and attentive towards him. And not long after their relationship started, Joseph discovered she was selfish and disinterested in his preferences, invalidated his opinions, and she belittled him in public. Despite this hurting Joseph greatly, he was convinced that he deeply loved her and he wanted to marry her. And he did this. And afterwards, her controlling, nasty nature intensified. Being invisible and dismissed. This is the next one I want to have a look at. Because then there was Angela, whose father was always absent and who showed her very little attention, and nothing she could ever do would make him spend time with her or lovingly connect to her. Angela's entire childhood was spent trying to win love and approval from her father. When Angela met Mike, she felt his interest in her and almost instantly started a relationship with him. Not long after, it felt to her that Mike was much less caring. In fact, he seemed to be losing interest and he was even pulling away from her. Yet Angela felt incredibly in love with him and she hung on for any crumbs of love or attention that she could get. So what's all this about? It's about being bonded to our wounds. Because despite feeling incredible pain and anxiety, and even when Joseph and Angela's friends and peers would view their relationships and wonder why on earth these two were putting up with the way they were being treated, Angela and Mike were mesmerized, making excuses, and terribly hooked to their partners. So much so that they couldn't even begin to imagine having a relationship with anybody else, despite knowing how much anxiety and depression they continually felt in these relationships. As you are watching this video, I want you to check in with yourself now. Are you going through this too? Do you feel in love with, or as if you can't disconnect from the person who is hurting you greatly? And if that's you, I want you to pause this video and please let me know in your comments below. Let's all check this out together and connect to this together so that we can unravel it and heal it. Let's start doing that. Let's investigate what is really going on here. Why is this the usual plight of being in relationship with a narcissist? Finding them completely irresistible despite their horrible behavior, and when trying to leave them and stay away, finding the cravings to reconnect almost unbearable to not give in to. There's only one true answer for this, why this is happening. It's unfinished internal business. And it's got nothing to do with the narcissist. The narcissist is only the catalyst. It actually has everything to do with ourselves. The unfinished business is our unhealed, underdeveloped wounds that create the continuation of our already existing traumas with the people we choose, who choose us to continue playing these traumas out with. Narcissists fit this bill exactly. They appear as being the bringer of the healing to our unresolved traumas, yet as time goes on, we discover they're in fact the messenger of our wounds. They smash our unhealed parts so hard that what was once unconscious within us, that we were surviving in our life as our normal, becomes so front and center and painful that it finally gets our attention. With Joseph, his traumas generated from his childhood were, I'm unimportant. To survive and minimize being damaged, I must give the woman I love what she wants and vanish myself and my needs. Joseph's inner love code is set on this belief and superglued in place with a ton of emotional energy, trauma, which has cemented this belief in place. So as far as Joseph's inner being is concerned, his chemical attraction to women will be exactly the match for that belief, and he will be as bonded, attached and addicted to such a woman as the right fit for his love code as any drug addict would be to the drug that brings the reality of their self-destructive inner identity. The painful choice and enmeshment with an abusive partner or a drug for any substance or pastime that is self-destructive is not the real issue. It's a symptom of something deeper. If Joseph does somehow extricate himself from this relationship, generally only after horrific abuse, which is the only reason that we crawl out of there barely alive, or if Barbara discards him, then his unhealed inner love code will line him up again with another woman who represents the same belief. This is why our patterns go on and on and on. Angela's inner love code of the man I love abandons me and I'm unworthy of his love means that she's starving for love and attention, just as a parched woman in a desert is dying of thirst. Naturally, as soon as she does receive attention, she's going to be prone to attach frenetically, only to be bonded to a man who provides the same trauma that she experienced in her childhood. Again, her subconscious programming is extremely literal. It simply connects her to the people and conditions to recreate over and over the validity of the inner love code to the letter. Again, because Angela has a great deal of traumatic energy connected to this painful belief, it has a powerful life of its own within her inner identity. The more trauma connected, the more so. So let's have a look at why we crave for the bringers of our wounds and how to reverse that. The craving part that we all suffer with narcissists is about this. Unconsciously, we want a source of the same trauma to do it differently this time. So it's like mum, dad, or whoever the original trauma came from, please do it differently this time. And if we stay looking outwards, trying to lecture, prescribe, love enough, support or use any method whatsoever to fix and change that person who's hurting us, we are hanging out in wrong town. So what is the answer to break the narcissist's irresistible hold and our craving to them? There's only one answer: change our inner love code. How do we do this? Firstly, let me assure you that you can't do this logically. Both Joseph and Angela may decide they deserve different treatment from their partners, yet no matter how much they think this, they will not have the inner resources to generate it. The idea of who they need to be to deserve different treatment is not going to convert into real life anchored action, because their feelings and thought processes are always going to default back to the inner subconscious programs, which are controlling 95% of our entire life by the time we reach 30 years of age. This is what neuroscientists have now realized and discovered. The brain follows the body. We can only ever think within the level of consciousness of our already existing trauma. Therefore, we make excuses. We suffer cognitive dissonance, and we keep finding all sorts of insane ways to keep handing our power away to abusers and enabling their abuse of us while hoping they will change. Our brain is always going to organise itself in a way that will agree with the validity and unfold more of the reality of our inner love code. That's key. Understanding this means we now know that the only change must happen within ourselves. The first step to achieving that is realizing it's the traumatic emotional energy connected with the belief that grants its life force and power inside us to keep us hooked on that traumatic belief. So hence, to change our subconscious beliefs, releasing the related trauma is everything. And this is why quantum freedom healing, which is the healing component in NARP, was created to take us inwards to locate these traumas, load them up, release them, and bring in source, which is our superconscious highest self, to fill the space where the previous traumas once were. This creates a shift which heals what the logical mind has no ability to heal. And this is exactly how I and so many other thrivers in this community have changed our love code. That's how we did it. Let's have a look at the shift from trauma bonding to freedom from abusers. So let's examine Joseph's quantum healing progress. Joseph came to NARP because he realized he was married to a narcissist and being terribly abused, but felt powerless to stop loving her and let go. Within 2 months of working NARP modules, Joseph found his inner love code, original traumas and painful beliefs, released them and reprogrammed them, and started organically rising into his deservedness, power and boundaries. He stated what he would and wouldn't tolerate anymore to Barbara, and true to narcissistic form, she upped her ante and tried to smash him even harder. However, because Joseph was no longer stuck in his previous inner identity programs and he'd shifted to much more powerful self-honouring ones, his feelings of addiction and craving to her were completely gone. He now found her behaviour intolerable and unpalatable, and Joseph separated successfully from her with strong boundaries in place. Now let's check out what happened with Angela. She had been in therapy for years regarding her absent relationship with her father and her patterns of falling in love with unavailable men, yet she felt powerless to let go of Mike. And it's so important to understand that no matter what we learn logically, our inner being trapped in trauma remains set on a trajectory, no matter what we think or even what we learn. Hence why logical cognitive therapy is often completely ineffective for trauma recovery. After Mike went missing and made no contact with Angela for a week, and she suspected he was a pathological lying narcissist seeing other women, she joined up and started healing with NARP. When Angela tracked the trauma she was feeling over Mike back into her subconscious programs, which NARP teaches you how to do, she was able to find, release and reprogram her inner love code. Not long after that, she easily rejected Mike when he tried to hoover her back in. Feelings of love and longing had shifted to feelings of repulsion. Because of her dedicated inner work with NARP, Angela was free of any attraction to Mike, and she knew deep in her being she deserved real commitment and devotion from a man, which he clearly couldn't grant her. 7 months later, after rejecting some unavailable men whilst dating, easily and solidly, which was her graduation in real time, Angela met Gary, who she's now married to. He's devoted, committed, and her inner identity easily accepts his love because this is a match for her inner love code now. Previously, Angela could simply not have been matched up with a man like this because her subconscious programs would never have permitted it. So you may not have either of those two, Joseph or Angela's issues, but I promise you this, any of your skirmishes, any of your inner love codes that aren't serving you can be targeted and addressed and shifted with NARP. That's what NARP does. So, does this make sense? Is the penny dropping? I can assure you the acceleration in people's healings and recovery to thrive as status starts to happen incredibly when they get this, what I'm sharing with you today, and when they start working on their inner love code with NARP to heal it. So to find out more about this, I'd love to invite you over to connect to my Thriver community with my free 16-day course, which includes a free Quantum Freedom healing with me, where you can start releasing the cravings and regain your life immediately. So to get started, all you need to do is click the link at the top right of this video. And if you like this video, please click the like button. And if you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe so that you're going to be notified as soon as each new one is released. And please share this with your communities, your friends, your family, communities that you're in, so that we can help people awaken to these truths of how to heal for real from trauma. And as always, I'd love to answer your comments and your questions below. And I look forward to connecting with you in the next video from Melbourne, Australia, rather than LA. And until then, keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving, because there's nothing else to do. Lots of love. Bye-bye.